So I want to talk about rear delt flies right quick, specifically on an incline bench. This can also apply to the actual reverse fly machine as well, the same sort of biomechanics, but I want to talk about specifically the thoracic spine and the relationship to your shoulder blade and your scapula, and how a lot of people actually butcher the mechanics unknowingly. So when you're setting up for a reverse fly, specifically on an incline bench, what you're going to see with a lot of folks is as they go to pull the weights up, for one, they'll likely be in a neutral grip position. So then as they pull the weights up, you'll see something like this, and they'll actually go into thoracic extension. So with the thoracic extension, that's typically coupled with a rhomboid dominant strategy in terms of actually getting your shoulder blade to retract. Now with any sort of reverse fly movement or a band pull apart, what you're really trying to emphasize, and Eric Cressy talks about this in one of his videos, is movement of the ball in the socket, specifically in the glenohumeral joint. So you don't want too much scapular retraction and protraction during the movement, maybe a little bit at end range, but specifically you don't want the movement to be just the shoulder blade movement. What I mean is, from the back, it's going to look like, I'll show you a bad one first. And then a good one is specifically, if you can see it, the differentiation, just moving at the shoulder blade, or just moving at the glenohumeral joint, and you're going to see in between my shoulder blades, you won't have as much retraction. So it's going to look like a much shorter range of motion, but specifically what you're going to find there is the rear delts are going to turn on a whole lot more, and you're not going to have as much of the rhomboids take over. So in terms of your rear delt fly, two little simple tweaks you can make are simply turn the thumbs inward, so use a pronated grip, and then as you're pulling up, you're going to use a lot shorter range of motion than you would think, and don't allow yourself to pull down with the lat as you're pulling up. So a lot of people want to pull down as they pull up versus keeping the elbow in line with the shoulder and out. The camera's a little tilted, so it's going to look funny, but bad one, they're going to pull down as they pull back, or you keep the elbow in line with the shoulder and pull up. So small little deviations there in terms of flipping the hands and then watching what happens at the shoulder. But I think with those, you're going to feel the rear delts turn on a lot easier, and you're also going to have to use less weight. So a lot of times with the reverse flies, these are dictated by momentum, and all people are training on their scapular retractors. While that's not a bad thing, if we can get some of that posterior delt to turn on, then we're going to be in a much better position, because that's one of your main external rotators. Just something to keep in mind the next time you're doing rear delt flies on the incline bench.